Hi, and welcome to today's topic on emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the ability to understand your emotions and the emotions of others. Emotions are expressions of core feelings, including happiness, sadness, anger, fear, and shame. I would like to use this opportunity to dispel the stereotype when it comes to emotions, particularly emotions in men. We have been taught growing up to not be emotional, not show emotions. But the reality is, all these expressions of core feelings that I just referenced, having such emotions is being human. Whether we choose to show it or hide it, the reality is we display one or more of these emotions during the course of a day. So it makes sense for us to be able to perceive and interpret these core feelings within ourselves and in others. This is why emotional intelligence is important. It's an important skill. Everything we see, hear, smell is communicated to our brain in the form of electric signals. These signals then go through the limbic system, which is the emotional part of the brain, before the rational part of the brain. This is the reason we can lose our cool and act irrationally. Studies have shown over 80% of people with high emotional intelligence are also high performers. Emotional quotient, short for EQ, not to be confused with IQ, is the measure of emotional intelligence, and EQ has a direct correlation with high performance. Being smart, having a high IQ is not the only contributing factor of success. And the reason for that is, no matter how intelligent you are, you still have to work with other people, and as a result, their emotions. To complete a project, bring a vision to life, start a business, you name it. So let's delve deeper into emotional intelligence. There are four main domains of emotional intelligence. The first two are self-focused, starting with self-awareness. This is about knowing what pushes your buttons and also understanding the physical response that is caused by a particular emotion. So, for example, when I'm angry, what I tend to notice is my hands will start shaking and then my breathing rate will go up. So, once I know what pushes my buttons and the physical response that accompanies that, then I can work towards self-management, which is the second domain of emotional intelligence. Self-management requires emotional self-control and being able to adapt and not lose our cool while trying to attain a specific goal during a particular interaction. So what does that look like? So if I find myself getting angry, what I could do is I could just try to calm myself down by taking a couple of deep breaths. And such a simple action can center myself, can help me center myself and refocus on the goal at hand. And so I'm being adaptable, I'm maintaining a positive outlook to achieve a desired outcome out of that particular interaction. So that's self-management. The last two domains had to do with others. Social awareness is about empathy, being able to listen to others as well as observe. For instance, if you're observing enough, the moment you walk into a room, Within the first 60 seconds, you should be able to gauge and read the energy in the room. And based on that, you can decide to match that energy or change the energy to help you achieve the desired outcome from that interaction. And then lastly, relationship management. It is all good and dandy to have a relationship, to have relationships, but the tough part is managing the relationship. And the way to do that is by building trust. And once that trust is built upon, then you can be able to have influence and tackle those tough conversations when conflict arises through conflict management, and also to be able to give advice through coaching and mentoring. All this will foster better teamwork and leadership for all those involved. So emotional intelligence takes practice. Being emotionally intelligent requires listening and observing oneself as well as others. The good thing is there are ample opportunities for us to practice emotional intelligence in our daily lives. Examples include spotting our emotions in books, movies, and music. Learning to feel our emotions physically, being aware of the physical changes our body undergoes as our emotions change, learning how to calm down. Emotional intelligence allows us to understand a situation, which sets the stage for how we want to communicate effectively. Communication is a pillar of emotional intelligence. We spend on average half of our typical day listening. Steve Covey, the author of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, states that one of the 7 habits is seeking first to understand, then to be understood. This requires tuning out the voices in our heads, listening actively to the speaker. So we must use emotional intelligence to guide our communication and be intentional in our communication. For instance, Monday is one of the least popular days of the week. I don't like Mondays because it's the first day after the weekend. Who likes going to a Monday 8 a.m. class? It takes a couple of hours to get out of the weekend tempo. So why have meetings first thing Monday mornings if it's not an absolute necessity? The goal of a meeting is to have a productive discussion based on a set objective and agenda. Therefore, the meeting organizer should be cognizant of all the things that can lead to an unproductive meeting. And to do so, it is crucial that the meeting organizer chooses the time which provides a high likelihood of engagement. By being intentional in our communication, as demonstrated in this example, we get more out of the process. That is better engagement and outcome. This is why great leaders are also great communicators. Let's talk about leadership and how it ties in with emotional intelligence. No college graduate will be given a leadership position on their first assignment. Pick a name. Jeff Bezos, the Amazon head. He didn't start his career as a CEO. You don't need an official title to be a leader. Leadership can be exemplified by anyone. A big reason for that is emotional intelligence. And companies are increasingly factoring emotional intelligence when hiring and promoting people. The employees with high emotional intelligence tend to be promoted. Why is that the case? Those employees that exhibit high EQ tend to be good listeners. This is the domain of social awareness, being calm under pressure. That is self-management, humble, and accepting you don't know it all. This is a great example of the domain of self-awareness. And lastly, relatable, being able to foster and build relationships, collaborative relationships with any team. That's relationship management. So, to recap, we can see that developing solid emotional intelligence skills can set the stage for us to be better in our communication and have better leadership. Lastly, before I conclude this discussion, here's a resource that will be helpful to not just those that are about to embark on their emotional intelligence journey, but even for those that are already aware of the concept of emotional intelligence. This free assessment by Institute for Health and Human Potential can be a level setting exercise to baseline yourself on your current level of emotional intelligence. The Institute for Health and Human Potential is a research-based training organization that specializes in emotional intelligence. They have worked with major corporations including Pfizer, Goldman Sachs, the NBA, and the NFL. So this is a short and sweet assessment that should take no more than 15 minutes. Majority of the questions are multiple choice questions, and the results are readily available after taking the assessment, which has recommendations on how to continue the emotional intelligence journey. So that concludes our discussion for today, and thank you.